Welcome, everybody. Hope you've had a great week at Blitz 21. This next segment, really looking forward to. I'm Brennan Hall. I'm a content producer at Hudl. We're going to talk for the next 45 minutes about Hudl Beta. I've got here the brainchild, the guy pulling the strings on the Hudl Beta, as well as 4 power users who have really gotten a lot of use out of this. Some great coaching influence. We'll go around and do some intros and get right into it. I'll pick it off to you, Nate, first.
Cool. Thanks, Brennan. Like Brennan said, my name's Nate Patterson. I don't know about the brainchild out of it all. We got a big team of people here at Hudl working on the Hudl Beta, but I'm kind of leading the charge here. I'll be the one answering any questions we have about it, giving a quick demo. But want to give the most of the time to these guys over here who are real coaches, talking to you about how they've been using the beta so far.
My name is Chris Vasser. I'm the host of the Make Defense Great Again podcast and the Run Vass Option podcast. And I'm honored to be here and talk through some of this stuff. I've really enjoyed the product. So looking to pick some of the other coaches' brains on how I can be more efficient at it, as well as share some ideas that have helped me out.
My name's Keith Fagan. I am currently a master coach with End Zone Football. I've been a high school football coach since 2004. For 12 years, I was coaching at New Rochelle High School in New Rochelle, New York, which is a perennial state power with the Huguenots there. And then I moved over to Mamaroneck High School as the offensive coordinator. And now I'm currently actually taking some time off to try and get my New York State teacher certification. But I'm looking forward to coaching again in the 2021 season.
Hey guys, my name is Alex Kirby. I'm the special teams coordinator at Ben Davis High School in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I also handle a lot of our breakdowns for mostly on defense and special teams, obviously. And I work with all sides of the ball doing that. So this is really, it's really great to be here because I love talking breakdowns and talking about analyzing film and all that good stuff. So looking forward to sharing what we do and looking forward to learning from these guys as well.
And my name is Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for having me. I've been a coach everywhere that you could possibly think of being a coach at. I've been a former video coordinator pre-Hudl. And so I know what the world is like in the prehistoric view. And I really enjoyed getting to know all of these new features that Hudl has come out with. It's really been a big, I think it's going to be a great thing for everybody out there, especially if you're a tape head like many of us are. You're really going to enjoy all of this new stuff that they have to offer.
I love that, tape head. All right, so before we get into it, I'm going to give a quick demo of the product just so we can be on the same page around what we're talking about when we talk about Hudl Beta. All right, so I have my account pulled up right here. So first of all, to get to Hudl Beta, up here in the nav, click on that and that'll load up the experience. So before we go any further, really what we view Hudl Beta as is the future of your core Hudl experience. So we've done a lot with assists, with the sideline. We've done a lot with play tools, but now we're reinvesting back into that core experience that all coaches know and use. So from here, right, we have your team listed up at the top, and then all the teams that you're playing this season over here on the right. What we're doing over here is aggregating that video across seasons. So, right, we play Omaha Concordia every single year. You're going to see all that video when you play them loaded up over there. From here, we can get into the actual video experience. So you'll notice over here on the right, all the filters, all your column data, that's listed over here. So if we want to, look at all the third downs, third and longs, maybe we can do that and quickly get to those filters here. So one of the biggest things that we wanted to do was take the power of the video and the power of data and combine those things so you no longer have to choose between one or the other, right? A big thing when Hudl Classic today is you can run reports and those are really powerful, but it's easy to get lost in them. It's hard to go back and forth. You have to choose one or the other. So from here, you're able to easily see all that data, right? All your run pass data, your formations, your backfields, defensive tendencies. And then what we're doing, a lot of you guys are using custom columns. That's listed over here in the other section. So what I can do now is come over here and actually move that where I want it to be. So play family, that's a offensive tendency. I can move that up here and then combine those filters too. So I want to look at, all the counters out of, ace trips. Now I'm looking at all the counters out of ace trips. Whoops, we'll have to edit that out. Hold on. Cool. All the counters out of ace trips, and we can even make this a little bit flexible. So if then all of a sudden I actually want to view all this data in full screen, I can easily do that and go really in depth with the data from full screen. So that's a quick overview. We'll get into a lot more of it, as we talk here. But really, video and data combined next to each other, and that flexible layout are going to be two of the biggest things that are going to help coaches get to those moments that matter faster, find those tendencies for their opponent or for themselves, and keep it moving. So with that, let's just start. Pretty basic question. I'll throw it over to Vass first. What's the biggest part of your workflow that the Hudl Betas had on you?
So this past season with COVID and life circumstances, I was consulting a program, my alma mater, but I was using Hudl extensively to build my own library up. And the biggest thing for me that was fantastic about it is that I could make a lot of cut-ups very quickly. The old way of creating a report, going to that report, clicking the little, whatever the blue hyperlink would be, whether it was the percentage or the frequency or whatever, and then clicking it and then saving it, and then going back to the report to hit the second thing. And that process of clicking out of different screens. And then if you stop for some reason, you went and clicked on something else, let's say you were halfway down or 3/4 of the way down the report, and you went and clicked on something else, if you went back to the report, it would scroll all the way up. Now I can just go in, I can select the calls, and really knowing how I want to do things on the front end, I'm able to kind of just with logic say, okay, this is what I want, set it up in a way, and then make cut-ups at lightning speed. I mean, it was really a revelation for me. And then sometimes I'd make so many that the list would be, it'd be so long and be off screen. So I would just close my browser, which again, that's, we're talking your 50 cut-ups in, you just close or open a new tab and go in. And it was just so much quicker. And I was able to make things that, I was working on a project, breaking down a college defense. And I made, when you say something like, oh, Chris, you had to click the report and then go back and click it again. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, poor Chris. But, when you're doing that, I made 500 cut-ups. It adds up. And so that to me has been far and away the best use for beta. And then applying that to most coaches that were in season. We had a guy when I was at Sarah, Lyndon McGee, who would make all of our cut-ups. Like we had 40 or 50 cut-ups we'd make for the kids, field position, red zone, whatever. If you save those parameters and print them off, and he could just, he was experimenting with it after we talked about it. And he was able he just did a test run and he said it cut his time in half. So that's the biggest thing for me was the production of cut-ups.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Vass just said, with the old reports, or you can do it in your classic library now, it's a linear progression. So, first and 10 right hash, first and long right hash, whatever. And it's a process to go top to bottom. You can't move in and out of those reports. With the beta, it's all intuitive. It's all there. So, you have the column that you see Nate working on the right-hand column there. But Nate, if you go full screen, what ends up happening is it's not linear. It's all there. So you don't have to go up and down. You can go left, right, up, down, diagonal, sideways. So anything you need to see, it's a click away, versus the old reports, like Vass said, it's a scroll up, scroll down, and you hit the wrong button and you got to start from scratch again. So I think, to me, the reason why the beta is so next level is because of the intuitive factor, of the full visual experience factor. It's almost kind of like taking those reports, Vass, and making it 3D.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I would have to agree. First of all, the thing that I would say is, to be fully honest, I didn't start using it until after our season was over. I don't like to change up the flow of what we're doing during the season, just because you only have so much time, and you don't want to spend time learning a new tool right there in the middle of the year. But we also do a lot of off-season research. We're in a very competitive league with a lot of great coaches, so we want to dive into what teams are doing and have done to us in the past. Like these two guys have already said, building the reports have become so much easier. And now I have time to dig into all sorts of little details, because, as I'm going to talk about later, I use and our team uses tons of custom columns and just to track all sorts of things. So to be able to jump from one thing to the other, as you guys just saw on that screen, it's invaluable. It really is, and it saves you so much time.
I think the thing that I like about it so much is that, for me, dealing specifically with players, film review, it really does speed up film review. Sometimes when you're trying to figure out like what you want to show players or what you want to go over in a meeting, I can't speak for everyone else. I teach, so all day long I'm worried about my classroom, and so now from the time the end of class to the beginning of my first meeting might be 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want my kids to have a half hour to just kind of be around and do whatever. I need to get them focused in, and I need to try to use this time wisely, get them in. I know I only have about 15, 20 minutes of real legitimate focus before they start tuning me out, because we understand what, what their focus goes after about 15 minutes. So I can come into beta and say, listen, man, look, every time we run jet, this is what's happening. And I can just pop it on and click in and look at all of our jet plays. And I can go specifically to what I'm talking about. Every time we run jet, this is what happens when we're up against a 3-3 stack. Every time we run jet, this is what happens when we're up against a 4-2-5. Because we've done that leg work on the front end of inputting that information. I can pull that information out, at a moment's notice while talking to my players, whether I'm doing it via Zoom, whether I'm doing it in person, whether I'm doing it and I only have 5 minutes because I want to turn it over to another coach. I get an opportunity to really get into the minutia of these plays right there in real time. Hey, every time we're in the red zone, this is what happened to us in the red zone. We had 6 trips in the red zone, and we didn't score on any one of those trips. I can pull those red zone things up immediately right now and show those kids those red zone plays where and show them where we had success or where we didn't have success. And so I think when they're able to see it in real time, because we love for our high school kids to watch more film and be more independent, but they watch film as fans. They don't watch film the same way that we watch film. So they're looking at the highlights. They're looking at, oh, look, he just got beat up. You know what? We're watching it to see how this play developed, what we can take advantage of. I remember specifically that we were playing against an opponent, and every single time they ran a certain motion, they ran a play behind it. I was able to bring up that exact play and show it to them every single time. And so that's something that's invaluable to me, to be able to show them how this thing works real time so that they see it while I'm talking, and I didn't have to spend 25 minutes, 30 minutes creating a cut up list, I can just go and click on it right now. And all I really have to do is have in my head, oh, I want to go over counter. I want to go over jet. I want to go over 33. And once I do that, I can go there and I can create those things in real time while I'm talking to my players. I think that's something that's invaluable.
And coach, that, what you just said hit home, because to me, that was the first like aha moment for me with Beta. That was the first thing that grabbed me, was exactly what you just said. A lot of us in high school football, we're teachers also, and for a lot of states, especially in New York, the state I'm in, the administration could care less about what your win-loss record is. They want to know what you're doing in the classroom teaching the kids. So you don't have that prep time. And like you said, I worked for a guy, he was Mr. Playlist. Like Vass said, the guy would have 52 cut-ups just on, inside runs. Well, it takes time. It takes prep. It takes effort to create those 52 cut-ups, to have them ready. So yeah, because he would say to me, coach, I'll just click on my playlists. Well, but it took you 3 hours to create those playlists. Like Coach Clemens, like you just said, it's real time. It happens now. I have 50 playlists in my head. I just click it, it's done.
Absolutely. And thinking about it from a video coordinator perspective, I remember that when we were still tape to tape and they still wanted those same 50 cut-ups. That was an entire Sunday for me. My entire Sunday, from the end of our game when I coached at Urbana University, from the end of our game that Saturday, once I was able to drive 3 hours and get that video and come back and get it into our system, I was using, I think, TD Video at the time. And when I was able to get that video in and put that in, it was literally a day and a half worth of me creating those cut-ups. Then Hudl came along and in a day and a half turned into a half of a day. And now with this new beta system and the way you're able to just kind of hit it, you've turned a half a day's work into an hour. I can create all of those same cut-ups, field zones, down and distance, formation. I can do that all in a matter of minutes. And that to me is invaluable. When you're talking about saving time, that's an invaluable thing. Or heaven forbid, my DB coach can do it now. He doesn't need for the video coordinator to do it anymore. They can do it themselves. And that to me begin giving a system that empowers the coaches who've always been afraid of the technology. That's something that I think that Beta could really help, because it really is as simple as just clicking on the button that you already see, as opposed to you having to build it for yourself.
Nice. And yeah, guys, don't be afraid to share your screen if you have cut ups as you're talking through, right? Oh, it's super easy to watch jet out of these fronts. I can share my screen and talk through some of that stuff, but if you guys have stuff that you want to share too, that'd be great. All right. Let's see here. Just it's a new product. It's not everything's the same as it used to be. Can you talk to me a little bit about starting in the product new? What was tough, what was easy, what was helpful to get started when you first started using the beta?
Do you want me to go first? Do you
Sure,
want to
that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
So for me, it's pretty intuitive, and Keith kind of hit on it. When you were making a report before, you kind of had to have it mapped out in your head before you started making the report. But sometimes you start clicking stuff and you're thinking, all right, I'm going to build this report. And all of a sudden you find something like, wait, it was the data was talking to you and you were seeing stuff as you were doing it. And that to me was the powerful part about moving the stuff around. I mean, it's just much more flexible. And the biggest thing for me was to remember to clear everything at the end. I mean, seriously, I would start to go and then I'd have like a mutant report and I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then I just had to remember, because that's a new step. You have to clear that out. So, but it's super easy to learn. I know guys like, I'm with Alex. I'm not super excited about changing my workflow in the middle of the season, but now that the season's over for a lot of people, it's something that take a half hour and you'll have it figured out. Just keep scrolling. I had a guy, I've become like the unofficial, help for, Hudl Beta. I get messages. How do I do this? I'm like, God, I'm not like a tester. So I'm trying to help them figure it out. But a lot of it is, oh, I didn't see that, and so just keep, poke around. Especially now with the custom columns in there, you can create anything that you want that you could have in an old report and more. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, just hitting off of that. That's one of the biggest changes from this in the old system, right? Is everything's clickable, everything's dynamic, things expand, things collapse. You can keep scrolling, you can keep moving stuff around, and that's one of the big things that we see in testing too. Is it only takes a few minutes to, once they realize, or once coaches realize, like, oh, all this is updating live. Oh, I can open this. Oh, I can do stuff there. It's kind of, the possibilities are endless there. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, and the learning curve is very steep. You know what I'm saying? It's like, once you kind of, when you first see it, it's a little overwhelming because it is so different, because it is so incredibly unique from what you're used to seeing out of Hudl. But once you get in there, the best thing that I found was, I had the luxury, however you want to phrase it, of New York didn't play this fall. So didn't have a season. Now, New York is going to start March 1st. And, I'm probably going to end up doing kind of what Vass did, is just kind of helping out with some teams, some guys that I'm really good friends with. Just they'll give me a project to do, or they'll ask me to do something maybe on a Sunday or something, and I can knock out a couple hours. And initially just get in there and play around. And I think what you'll find is that because it is so intuitive, because it is so clickable, because it does update live real time, that you're going to find your niche. You're going to start rolling on something, and then, you find out how to do it. But to me, the best part about the beta was you're always self-improving. You're always, when you click something, you're always, oh, wow, that's a better way to do it. Or, wow, that's faster. Or, wow, this came up. That's what I need to do when I want to move on from that. So I think that's the biggest part, is don't be intimidated when you first look at it, because you're going to become an expert in it very quickly.
Well, I'm gonna dissent a little bit from the last two guys. I'm slower than a lot of people think that I am, and it takes me a little bit longer to adjust to things. But it is, once you jump in and start messing around, it is really intuitive, and I do like it's very fluid, right? Like you can move a lot of things around, and you can see the report that you want to create in real time. To be honest with you, I'm probably 95% of the way there. That's what the off season's for, right? Like, you're going to play around with a lot of stuff and see what works. But as I said before, what I've been able to use it for so far has been really great for, not just for our team, but, other side projects that I have as well. I'm always using Hudl for that as well. So, it takes me a little bit longer than most people sometimes, just by nature, but I'm all in at this point. I love it.
Oh, I think you're muted there, Coach.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we get intimidated, and the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, what is this? But I'm more of a nerd that way. I was just intrigued. I actually popped on it and then spent the next few hours just tooling around on it. And the one thing I really love about it is that there are things that pop into your head as a coach, and you're like, well, how do I need to look at this? And really quickly, I want to show you guys something, because I think it's really telling. So I pull up the old way of doing things, and I say, oh my gosh, I want to see all of those plays out of out of this formation that I stole from Syracuse University. They were doing the formation where they had the quads, but they had the guy way back, like 15 yards off the ball, like a Canadian football thing, except he didn't run forward before the snap. And so I put that formation in. I actually did a video on it on my YouTube channel, and I put it in, and I wanted to put it to practice to see if they work. So if I want to go and look at that, and I want to go to that game, okay, that was Beach High, and I'm going to bring up Beach High, and then I need to go and look for the formations, and then I'm going to go up. Okay, well, there's the formation right there. And then I'm going to go and try to scroll down and see the passes. So I'm going to go to play type and scroll through here and put in passes out of it. And so now I have everything that I want to look at. And so now I can go and scroll through it and, kind of see what's going on. And that's great. Like that's great. And then I go over to the beta and I click on, the beach game, and I click on offense, and immediately I look down here and I can see not only, the Canada formation here, but I'm looking at passes and runs. So if I just clicked on Canada, I could tell I've got 5 clips and passes. I've got 1 clip and run. Okay, I'm gonna click those 5 clips. It's right here. I can then go from that Canada formation and figure out like different plays. Oh, I ran Aloha 100% of the time out of this. So I ran Aloha 5 times when I ran a pass out of this. And I just start going on and clicking on and looking at this play formation. Like, okay, yeah. Look how they're lining up to it the first time that I ran it. He's wide open. Why didn't we throw the ball? He's wide open. He throws it late. Now we have a chance to do something with it. Okay, that's cool. The second time I do it, now they have 3 people over our 3 out here. Here's my 4th guy. How do we react to it? We throw the backside fade. We missed the opportunity, but it's there because they've overcompensated to 1 time. Okay, here's the 3rd time. We're looking at it. It's 3-on-2. We dropped the ball, but we can see he's wide open. The shadow of him's right there, but he's wide open again. The next time, here's 2 over our 3. He's wide open. Throw the ball to him. Instead, we throw the backside fade. Probably the wrong read. I can show my team this stuff in real time and let them see what I'm seeing. And I think that that's just that's an awesome thing about this. And it really got me excited. So excited. I went out and created a video about it. Like, I was really excited about how quickly I was able to bring up one particular thing, one specific thing, and show my players something in real time that they're able to take back with them and maybe go back and look those plays up for themselves so that they can make themselves better.
Nice. Yeah, that's an awesome comparison from the old to the new. 2 things I'm just going to plug here. We try to make the product as intuitive as we can. Like they said, clicking around, playing with it yourself is probably the best way to do it. A couple of things we have done to help kind of ease that burden and not make things as intimidating is one right here, some in-product tutorial videos, right? So I can come here, get a quick 1-minute overview of each of these kind of tasks. The other thing we have up here is if you come over to this question mark icon, so 1, you can click on those video tutorials. 2, you can give us feedback like we always want, but you can also sign up for expert chats as well. So expert chats one-on-one with our support team to get you leveled up on the beta as well. So yeah, just wanted to plug that as we talk about something new that a lot of coaches are hopefully going to use, and everyone's a different learner, so we want to give those different opportunities to people. All right, let's get into custom data. So I want to talk about some of the custom reports you guys are using now, and I want to see how we can do that in Hudl Beta. So this is kind of newer functionality that we brought over that's similar to custom reports, and see how that might work in the beta. Any volunteers to go first?
I'll just say real quick, I'm having technical difficulties right now, so I do not want to go to share screen. I didn't save any, or I messed around with it because, like I said, what I was doing this off season was making cut ups. I wasn't really doing the report stuff, but I can say in the 15 minutes that I used it as a reporting tool, fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
This is where the real magic happens. Is how quickly you can go through your custom data.
Yeah, Nate, I don't know. I mean, I haven't generated reports with the beta, but I'd be more than happy to have you walk me through it. Maybe as a show for the guy, anybody's watching, they can see how to do it. If you want to, so I have 2 games, 111 plays labeled.
Yeah.
Where would I go first for my custom report?
Yeah, so let's start by maybe clearing these filters up here at the top that you have, right? So you got the field zone ones selected.
Yeah.
Never forget to clear the filters.
Yeah. And again, but I mean, you guys just saw that obviously wasn't rehearsed. That's in the old system. It would take forever to clear those filters. There, it was literally, I just went filters, click them, done, gone.
All right. Yeah. So one common report we see that a lot of coaches run is just simply, I want to see all their favorite run and pass plays by formation. So if we open up the formation card here, at the bottom there, yep. And we go report on. So this is similar to custom reports where I think it's breakdown by is what we call it. So we go report on run pass to start with. And then we add another, right? So now we're looking at all of their run pass, all their formations and the run pass ratio out of that. And then we add in play here. You can also type in play from here too.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Right. So now I'm looking at out of each formation, their top run plays and top pass plays. And that's something pretty common that we see a lot of coaches doing. Are there other things? Does that make sense? What you
makes
here?
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. Now, what happens if I add formation after play? In other words, traditionally you want.
Yep. So you're already looking at formation here. So
I got you. Yeah, it's sorted by formation. I understand that. Yep. So that's the default.
Yeah. So if you wanted to see it the other way around, if you wanted to, you would go into the play card and you could do it that way as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. So it's not gonna, again, this is new for me, so this is exciting. It's not gonna be like the old reports. Again, the same thing. It makes sense to me now. It's real time.
Yeah. So, right, you're looking at now all the formations and, how that's being broken up by, first, second, down and distance for each of those and when they're running, out of those plays. And this works for all the different cards. So if you want that top level to be plays and you want to see, for each play, we could open up, if you go to the top right there next to formations and close out of that. Yep. And then say we scroll down to plays. So now we can do the same thing. So now I have all the plays that they have listed here, and I can break that up and look at, report on, you could look at run pass for play isn't going to work, but, formation or, distance, anything like that. So now you're going to see, okay, for each play, what are the top formations are running that out of?
Yep.
So that's kind of like for custom reports, you're doing a lot of that, pivoting or trying to find those combinations of data that reveal, on, field boundaries, another really good one to use here, or play direction is a really good one to use here. Hash, right? Coach Clemens or Coach Kirby, are there any kind of weekly custom reports you guys are using or reports that you guys are running on a regular basis?
I'll be honest with you. I've never been a big report guy because I like the idea of just creating a bunch of playlists and sorting manually and just doing it that way. That's just what I've done. Um, so I don't know that I can, to honestly add a whole lot to this particular segment. But the functionality of doing what I like to do is perfect with Hudl Beta. So it just fits into what I like to do even better.
I'm pretty similar in that way. I don't really make a lot of reports, except for at the end of a season, I will run reports just to kind of see the way the numbers look. Am I balanced? I'm really looking for balance at the end of a season when I'm trying to do a self scout, or even maybe like on the like a bye week, if we want to self scout, well, I may do like a report that just shows, hey, what are our tendencies? Am I more left-handed, right-handed? Am I always kind of doing the same thing on particular downs? But really and truly, if I'm doing it and it's mostly for me, then I'm doing that and looking at it in real time. And that's the best part about it, is I don't think you actually need to run a ton of reports, because you can get that data so quickly now and look at the clips that follow that data. Most coaches tend to be visual learners anyway, and so they're looking at what they need to see, how they need to see it, and that in a lot of ways works just as well. The data or the tendencies, you've even taken the need for me to try to calculate tendencies on my own, because I can just look at that when I click. And I can see, okay, well, if they run in this formation, they run it, 65% of the time. They throw it 35% of the time. I don't need to go and do that math anymore. You've done the math for me. So I think a lot of the steps or the reasons that many of us would have used a lot of those reports, those things have kind of taken a side seat to being able to see this stuff in real time now.
Yeah, Nate, I think the key to understanding this whole thing is the different perspective you're looking at it from. Offensive coaches, because of the nature of football, where the defense is by nature reactionary, those reports are more for the defensive guys than for the offensive guys. So, if you're an offensive guy, it's not so much a report you want, it's how are they reacting to us you want to see. So that's why it's, you pull up like, let's see how quickly I can do this. But for example, the team in black is the team that I coach. The team in white is the opponent. And I want to know, I don't want to know, play, run, pass, whatever. I want to know, okay, why did they line up in bear? Right. So, okay, now I see this is all the times in the box configuration I call bear. So for me, bear is 5 down on the line of scrimmage with 2 linebackers. 7, so a 7-man box. 7 is 4 down linemen with 3 guys in the box. So it's just a different way to configure a 7-man box. It's either 5 down with 2 linebackers or 4 down with 3 linebackers. But again, so bear and 7 are 7 defenders inside the tackle box, but it's configured differently. So now I want to know, I can bounce back and forth and be like, okay, whens and whys, why did they bring a lineman out and put a linebacker in? Because they still got 7 in there. So for me, for the offensive guys, it's visual. And that's why it's so quick. Like now the defensive guys, they want to know hash down, distance, formation, play, field zone. All that data is great for those guys. So the old way, you had to either be the offensive guy or you had to be the defensive guy. With the beta, you can bounce back and forth because it's right there for you.
I'll tell you one thing that as an offensive guy is extremely like, this is the stuff that I like to know. And that's this little efficiency button right here. I mean, when we go down and we look at efficiency, I want to know, like, because I look 38% efficient, 62% not efficient. Okay, well, that means that out of all of these offensive plays this year, I was inefficient most of the time, or at least the majority of the time. Well, why was I inefficient? Especially on first down and second down, like you inefficiency tends to get a little bit worse on third down, and so that's an understandable thing. But first down and second down, if you're yes, most of the time you're going to have some success. So looking at these inefficient first down plays, why were we inefficient? I think that gives an opportunity to tell me a lot about, what we're doing and what we need to do in order to make it better. And I think that's something that, as a coach, especially as an offensive coach, efficiency is everything, because efficiency keeps you on schedule. Especially, I think that a great thing to do would be to, if you're somebody that scripts their first 15, how efficient are you in that first 15? So to be able to clip those, that first drive and to clip all of those plays from the first drive, and then look at the efficiency numbers. How efficient was I? Was that really a good opening script? Or maybe do I need to go back to the drawing board on how I create this script? Is something that can be really, really beneficial for an offensive guy.
No, that's right on point. That's super helpful. Yeah. Let's so we talked a little bit about custom columns at the very beginning. I want to give Coach Kirby his time to shine a little bit. He's done a lot of work on maybe the most intriguing and new offense from this past year with Coastal Carolina. Just want to give him a chance to kind of talk through some of that stuff in the beta. You want me to go ahead and share my screen then, Alex? Or
yeah,
okay.
we tried this yesterday on my computer. It didn't go so well, so I'm gonna have to run off Nate's computer for some reason. But yeah, so I did spend a lot of time looking at Coastal's offense, and the cool thing about it. First of all, the cool thing about the offense, it's not a bunch of new stuff necessarily. It's just maybe some new formations and a bunch of option stuff thrown at you a bunch of different ways. But for custom columns, and these are all things that I use week to week as well, not just for this project, but you see there, I'm tracking the option, right? So you see keep, pitch, give, throw, and so like if they have like a zone read with an RPO there, I'm gonna chart whether they throw the bubble. If you go a little bit further down, you see running back depth. So back, even, angle. A lot of this is one back gun stuff. So, that would include pistol or just normal one back gun where the running back is just a little bit aligned further back. And then, the route concept column right there. So that's going to be a separate column from the offensive play. So in other words, let's say you're running a normal 2x2 zone read RPO where you got some kind of pass concept going out there to the two receiver side away from the play. I'm going to tag that in the normal offensive play column as just zone read RPO, because I want to cluster as many of those together within that column as possible. And then within the route concept column, that's when I can go and kind of see what specific concepts they're running off of that play, if that makes sense. So that way I can group all the RPOs together. And then, and I can also include that route concept column for just normal dropbacks as well. So, you could basically, it just helps you isolate that particular variable. So you can see there's a lot of teams that they'll throw the same pass concept, but do it out of a bunch of different backfield actions. So it really helps you clean up your data as well. It gives you a place to isolate that. You see, if you go back to where we were just at, if you go a little bit further down, you see the route thrown. So now, and we've done this, we don't do this for every team. Obviously it depends on week to week, but we play several good quarterbacks in our league. So yeah. And then there's even more interesting. There's the quarterbacks that, they're good at some things, but not so good at other things. And so it helps you isolate, kind of what that offense likes to do and what they're best at, and what they're not so good at, so we can really go through and by the time we're done putting all this information together, I can give you the quarterback's completion percentage all season long on every single type of route he's thrown. So he might like to throw fades, but he might not be any good at it. You know what I mean? So we're going to be able to figure that out. That's just a perfect example there. So obviously you got motions and everything else. If you go over to the right there, if you go down to position target, so you have player, so that's going to be your player number, and then you've got position target. So the difference between those columns for us, the position target is obviously, within whatever formation you're talking about. So you can pull up all your 3x1 stuff and pull up all the times they targeted the X receiver and whatever concept that might be. Whoever ended up touching the ball on that play, we can figure that out. And then you go up to the next column up right above that, the player target. That's the actual player jersey number, right? So if they've got a stud tailback at number 2, I'm going to tag number 2 every time he touches the ball, and I'm going to find out, what he's good at. And it's even better when you've got a couple of really good running backs, right? So that way you can segment the run plays and maybe the pass routes by who's the runner, who's the blocker, who's the power back, who's the speed guy. There's a lot of ways you can slice it. And obviously, this is all data from Coastal Carolina's breakdown that I did. Really enjoyed doing that, learned a lot. But this is all stuff that we do every week anyway. So that's when I said earlier, I do this, and I'm certainly not the only one who watches film on staff. We do this just as part of our normal operating procedure week to week. And obviously we don't use every single custom columns every week. There's, you, depending on what kind of opponent you have is what you're going to decide to chart. But, this is, I guess what I'm saying is this is the process that we follow every week. And so I just wanted to take that to Coastal Carolina and use that same approach as if I was preparing to defend them, as a defensive coach. So I learned a lot there, but again, the tools from Hudl Beta really made it so much easier as all of these guys have talked about, in jumping from place to place and really diving into things and finding tendencies.
Nice. Yeah, that was awesome, Alex. I know we're getting near the end here. Last couple things I want to show, and then I'm gonna have one more question at the end. So one thing again that's been recently added and that we're working on is actually being able to add and edit all your data from here too. So this pencil icon is where all that can be accessed. So you can quick edit. So as Alex is going along and he realizes, you know what, this wasn't pro H-back, this was, a different formation, he could come in here and change that if needed. If he wants to really go in depth with that, he can actually put it over here on the right. So this is a different kind of view. So everyone's kind of used to that grid below the video, but here we can go really in depth on just one play and cycle through all those plays at once. As you're watching this, it might already be in production, but being able to actually put this then on the bottom, that traditional grid, is something that we're going to bring to Hudl Beta. It's something a lot of coaches know and love, and so we want to make sure we're bringing that same functionality, all the great things that people love about the last decade of Hudl, and bringing it into Hudl Beta, and that'll look kind of something like this. So I can go here. This is just a prototype, but you can have that grid then there on the bottom. We're also working on being able to change how you visualize these. Right now we're just showing them all, but you'll have the option to choose what's visible, reorder, all of that same functionality as well. So that's coming soon as well too. I guess with that, as far as talking about things that are coming soon, this is a work in progress, right? So there's a lot of functionality that we're going to continue to build out into the 2021 season, into the 2022 season. So we want your feedback. That's the only way we're going to build a better product. Anyone else on the call, what are some of the top things in Hudl Beta that you're hoping we bring over, that new features that we can build in as over the next few months, over the next couple of years?
I would just say just going back to what you said you're bringing this over already, but I would just go ahead and stress the importance of putting that data below the video. I basically, because the process that I follow is I'm not gonna chart every single column on the first run through. Right. I think I've talked about that before. Like I'm going to do all the basic stuff, formation, play, motion, all the ABC kind of data columns right away. And then I'm going to go back, and that's when and go through the film a second or third time and fill out all those custom columns. So I really like that format because it allows me to do that and allows me to watch the same clips 10 to 15 times by the time I'm finished going through it.
Absolutely. I think, and just to piggyback off what Alex was talking about, the thing that I like about what they're doing, because I had an opportunity to see that before, is how to quickly adjust those columns on the bottom. The way in which I input data, and before Hudl Assist came along and did all of that beautiful input work of the mundane stuff that you really don't like doing. It really, for me, it was an opportunity to take my first swipe through it, looking at the film. And so being able to look at things in smaller digestible bites, like I'm just going to do down, distance, hash, at this time. And so I can just kind of look at that, but then also notice on that right-hand side or wherever I put that other column, that other section at, start to see the tendencies begin to build right as I'm inputting the data. That something might catch my eye and let my ADHD go crazy, but then go to that and start looking at some of the things in real time. But I think that the best part, and especially, and that's kudos to you, Alex, and what you guys do with your breakdowns, I think that becomes a lot more feasible for your everyman coach, or your coach who only has 2 guys on his staff, because they're smaller, when you add in the assist. So allowing assist to do all of the basic fundamental input work, now you can focus in on all of those custom columns that you might just want for yourself to input that stuff in, knowing that the assist is going to take care of the rest of it. So I think when you marry those 2 things together, you really have something that's going to be interesting to watch. I think the next level is going to be creating ways to help our young men build better highlights. And I think that's the thing that's next. Like really being able to put in, like for instance, in your efficiency, have a button that tells them this is like an explosive play. And so it already has triggered that this is what an explosive play should be based off of whatever algorithm you guys come up with. So it helps our young men to better understand that's not a highlight. Look, Hudl didn't even call it a highlight. Why would you call it a highlight? So I think that's going to help them better build better highlights, because we know that one of the reasons why Hudl exploded was because it was really super easy for them to build highlights off of Hudl. And I don't want us to lose sight of that, because you want our kids to interact with Hudl the way that they've fallen in love with it, but you want them to do it in a more smart, more responsible way.
Coach, you mean running untouched 3 yards for a touchdown is not a highlight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what I mean.
That's the classic one. But what I'm excited about is the whole share aspect. So, the way it works now, the old school, you go in there and you have to create a playlist, then you have to share it with that particular coach. The way it's going to work is when you click on all your columns, you click share and bang, the guy you want to share with, a person you want to share it with, or the player you want to share it with is right there. And, you just click it and go. And I think that's going to be, so now they're watching the film how you want them to watch the film, and you don't have to create a new playlist and then share it with them. Like, Coach Clements touched on it. He seems to me, just listening to him talk, he's a very, kind of fluid, creative guy when he's watching film. He's not a very rote guy that's going to always, plug in these same things. He's kind of like very organic in how he's watching the film. And I think for a guy like that, it's very valuable to, oh, I have this. I almost don't even know how I got here, but I need my linebackers to see this. I need my H-back to see this. I need my my Canada guy that's 15 yards deep. I need him to see this. Bang, share it with him. Done. And I think that's going to be the exciting part about it.
Yeah, and the share functionality is just getting started. So like right here, really all we have is being able to copy links. So when I copy that link, I'm copying the exact videos I have selected, the exact filters, and kind of this configuration. So then when I go and copy and paste this link and send in an email or send it in WhatsApp or whatever, and someone opens it up, it's going to open up exactly what they see. And we're going to continue to build off of that. So instead of having to then go copy that link in an email or into Hudl Messenger or whatever, you're going to be able to do that right from here. So you're going to be able to say, hey, send this to my, all my linebacker group. And that's coming over the next couple months as well, which is really exciting. That's kind of the next big thing for us to work through is better save and better share functionality.
I have a quick question for you, Nate.
Yeah.
And I apologize in the ignorance if it exists. But is there a way to save your filters and how you have them in what order? Like, you could save the custom reports. Is there a way to save filters in this particular order? Like you've already kind of worked out how we want to do things, because now you're talking next level where you could select the filters. So for example, I was telling you about my old colleague that we made the same cut ups every week. Mm-hmm. You could hit that auto or like populate and make the cut ups and name them. I mean, you could go towards automation. And now, Coach Clemens said, he would spend his whole Sunday. Now it's down to half a Sunday or a quarter of a Sunday. Now you're down to 30 minutes. So I was just a thing to throw out there as a potential.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something that we're looking into. I think it's a little bit further down the road, right? Like we got to really make sure that people are able to kind of save that. Once you get to those filters, being able to save it in the first place, right? Like we can share the link right now, but I can't save the link and get back to it later. So that's kind of step one, and then being able to share that better. But yeah, how we, quick filters or save filters, whatever you want to call them, is something that we've been thinking more about for sure.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is my PSA to the coaches, like when, especially Nate, a lot of people say, well, if you have any suggestions or anything, let us know and we'll take it to heart. I mean, we had conversations.
Yeah.
I don't know when we started, May, June, something like that. And you said, what would you do? And I gave a bunch of feedback and a lot of it. Now, it's not because I said it, but I'm sure there were other coaches that shared similar feedback, but almost everything we talked about has been implemented, or it was already down. It was coming down the pipe. Like I remember a bunch of stuff you were like, yeah, that's coming in a couple months. It's going to be updated. And if you guys have something that you really want, share it with them. They listen. They do listen. I can personally attest to that.
Yeah, I'll just give one plug and then we can wrap up. So if you want to give us feedback right here in this product, the little question mark icon, you can hit give feedback, select, what you have a question, you just have something to say, whatever it is. And that's going to come directly to me and my team. The other thing you can do is just email me or hit me up on Twitter. So Nate.Patterson@Hudl.com or Nathaniel_Pat on Twitter, and feel free to shoot me a DM, email, anything you guys have coming through. We're constantly wanting to talk to new coaches every single week to make this thing the best it can be. So appreciate you guys joining us. That was a really good panel, and hopefully other coaches got a lot out of that, and we'll get a lot more using Hudl Beta here in the next few months.